Oh, we're on YouTube. Yay. Start that. Boom. Alright. It's chapter 11. It's about 2 a.m. and I can't sleep. I passed out on the couch watching something earlier and then tried to go to bed. Had my tea and everything and can't sleep. Brain won't shut off. Not necessarily angry, but frustrated. Keep praying. Keep praying for sin, for peace, for revenge, for old vengeance, because you're allowed to pray for that. But yeah. So I'm not sleeping. I might as well work. It's either that or play video games. That's what my brain is. I think I'd rather go through this one more time, make sure it's done, do the final review, final read of chapter 11. I think it's done. I've already done the prep work to start getting into editing 12. Even as I'm sitting here, I'm ready to go back to bed and try sleeping again, but I just don't trust my brain to actually give me peace right now. I think what I need is like a workout. Burn off cortisol in my system. Probably the best thing for me right now, but I'll do this instead. Chapter 11. Arista remained coiled around the light's edge, half swallowed by shadow. Her expression flickered, fear at his nearness, disgust at herself, mistrust sharpening into anger. She looked torn apart by her own conflicting instincts. Garrett swallowed and stepped forward, slowly, palms open. He had never seen her so uncertain. Arista, no, her voice cracked through the cavern like a whip. Several massive tentacles struck stone at once, the impact booming through the chamber and sending heaps of shimmering treasure cascading to the floor. Before Garrett could react, one of those limbs lashed out with startling speed, his world inverted. No. A slick, iron-strung grip coiled around his ankle and hoisted him upside down, lifting him high above the glowing pools. The blood rushed to his head, and the cavern spun. Arista, wait, he managed, but she wasn't listening. No more lies, she screamed, raw, panicked, as if her own voice ripped itself from her. The space shook with the force of it. A wave of tentacles surged outward, striking stone and scattering more treasure with a sharp metallic clatter across the floor. I don't think I need across the floor. With a sharp metallic clatter, that's enough. Arista, he choked, folding himself upward to reach the tendril gripping him. I'm not lying to you. You are, she hissed. You must be. You should be. Her tone shuddered between fury and despair. More limbs writhed through the darkness behind her, not striking but thrashing at the air as if she wanted to tear the world apart. No one sees this me and stays. Her face flickered in and out of view behind the slithering limbs, regal, monstrous, terrified. Put me down, Garrett said softly, and I'll prove it. The floor spun below him, a field of gold light flickering beneath the shadows that held him suspended. You'll run, her voice splintered into something small, something terribly young. So young, I think I want innocent. Something terribly innocent. Or you'll scream, or you'll fight like the others. They all do. They all beg or curse or bargain until they die. And I... She cut herself off, tentacles curling inward as if in pain. I don't want to hear another man lie. Garrett winced at the pressure squeezing his ankle, but spoke with calm surrender. Then I'll tell the truth, he struggled. Something in that made her freeze. Not release him, but stop moving. The air felt crushed between them. She had turned him toward her, forgetting her shame as she studied his flushed face. Truth? She whispered. Yes, he gasped, dizzy from hanging upside down for so long. The truth is, I'm terrified. Of you, for you, mostly of you ever being alone again. And I don't know if this is love between us, but I'm here. I'm choosing to be here, this moment. I choose you. Her grip trembled. You're here because I trapped you, she said, her voice caught between a pout and a growl, pivoting him away again as shy guilt flooded her face. Here because I dragged you down and didn't give you the chance. Otherwise you would have left on that raft of yours. Garrett laughed, and then fell silent at the severity of her look as she sharply turned him back around, pulling her face near his. pulling his face near hers. That pile of sticks never would have made it past the coastline. I built it because I was mad at you. Couples fight. What matters is that we talk it out. Arista's pupils narrowed into golden horizontal slits. Now you want to talk, she spat, while you dangle like bait, while I... Her voice broke. The tentacle holding him quivered. And disconnected. And reconnected. There we go. Truth, she whispered. Yes, he gasped, dizzy from hanging upside down for so long. The truth is I'm terrified. Of you, for you. Mostly of you ever being alone again. And I don't know if this is love between us, but I'm here. I'm choosing to be here, this moment. I choose you. Her grip trembled. You're here because I trapped you, she said, her voice caught between a pout and a growl, pivoting him away again as shy guilt flooded her face. Here because I dragged you down and didn't give you the chance. Otherwise, you would have left on that raft of yours. Garrett laughed, then fell silent at the severity of her look as she sharply turned him back around, pulling his face near hers. That pile of sticks never would have made it past the coastline. I built it because I was mad at you. Couples fight. What matters is that we talk it out. Arista's pupils narrowed into golden horizontal slits. Now you want to talk, she spat? While you dangle like bait, while I... Her voice broke. The tentacle holding him quivered. You don't understand what I am. Then tell me, Garrett said, gently. She brought him nearer to her face, her eyes narrowing in suspicion. You'll say anything to escape my hold. Why should I trust you now? Near the face, to her face. You do that a couple times. It feels like a bad repetition. She brought him close again. She turned him toward her, forgetting her shame as she studied his flushed face, pivoting him away again as shy guilt flooded her face. His flushed features. We're not using face too much. And get rid of face there as shy guilt flooded her, so I don't need that. She brought him nearer still. She brought him in closer. Wide eyes narrowing in suspicion. You'll say anything to escape my hold. Why should I trust you now? Like my father used to say, without trust there is no relationship. If you want love, especially true love, you'll have to trust someone, and I'm the only one here. Her breath came in sharp, shuddering waves, salt, guilt, and heartache. For a moment she only stared, him upside down and her impossibly vulnerable, as if trying to read the intent of his words in the wrinkled, as if trying to read the intent of his words in the wrinkles of his beet-red brow. Yeah, I don't like how that flows. The wrinkles of his brow. She lowered him an inch as she turned away in consideration. Trust, she repeated, the word warping in her throat, like something bitter she'd been forced to swallow. Do you have any notion how much trust has cost me? Another tentacle struck the cavern wall with a crack that sent bones skittering. It cost me pain, she hissed, another whip of movement. Shells shattered across stone. Betrayal. The glowing pools rippled violently as her limbs dragged through them. My home. Her voice splintered like fractured coral. My crown. My destiny. She pulled him closer. Damn it, I have closer up here. So... she brought him in tighter. He's tight too much, too. Nearer. Just feels sloppy. Nearer. She brought him in. She brought him near. She brought him near her face. Breath came in sharp, shuddering waves, salt, guilt, and heartache. For a moment she only stared, him upside down and her impossibly vulnerable, as if trying to read the intent of his words in the wrinkles of his brow. She lowered him an inch as she turned away in consideration. Trust, she repeated, the word warping in her throat like something bitter she'd been forced to swallow. Do you have any notion how much trust has cost me? Another tentacle struck the cavern wall with a crack that sent bones skittering. It cost me pain, she hissed, another whip of movement. Shells shattered across stone. Betrayal. The glowing pools rippled violently as her limbs dragged through them. My home. Her voice splintered like fractured coral. My crown. My destiny. She pulled him closer, not roughly now, but with a trembling restraint. He hung inches from her otherworldly yet familiar face, close enough to feel the mist of her breath and smell the faint lingering hint of hibiscus. I can't trust anyone, she whispered in his ear, and for the first time the great cavern seemed too small for her grief. Not my own kind, not my own family. I've been attacked, hunted, stolen from, even here, in my own cave, my own prison. Her voice cracked on the last word. Garrett's heart thudded painfully as if trying to reach for her. Upside down, dizzy, half nauseous, and staring into her monstrous beauty, he'd never pitied anyone more. Arista, his voice was soft as he raised a hand to touch her cheek. You're the only treasure I want. Her pupils widened. Fear or hope, he couldn't tell. Every tentacle around him unfurled. Her entire mass reared back like it was ready to either crush or collapse. He continued, slowly, each word measured with gentle care. Okay. You say trust cost you everything, but you're still here, alive, waiting, wanting something better than pain. That means trust didn't break you. He swallowed. It just hurt. I'm sorry for that. The pressure around his ankle loosened. She whispered, You don't understand. I destroyed everything, everyone. I drove them away with my pride, my power, my temper. They were right to despise me. Her voice dipped, small and bare. And you will too. Garrett reached downward, brushing the proud cheekbones. Cheekbone. Just one. One hand, one cheekbone. Garrett reached downward, brushing the proud cheekbone he had kissed so many times, and then the sharp line of her jaw. His fingertips shook as he turned her face to look at him. We're both scared, he said quietly, but I'm here. I'm willing to learn, to hear your story, to understand you. Her breath hitched, an unmistakably human sound despite her monstrous appearance. So last time I used monstrous. Her monstrous beauty. That's something to catch later, I guess. An unmistakably human sound despite her inhuman form. It's not great, but it works. Inhuman form, inhuman appearance. Yeah. Garrett, she whispered, her voice thinning as she pulled away from his touch, unwittingly lifting him higher. Don't look at me. Don't lie to me. I couldn't take that from you. Fine, he sighed. I won't talk then. I'll try not to stare, but to me, you're still beautiful. Frightening, yes, no matter what shape you take, but beautiful. Just tell me your story and I'll listen, except, he added as his face started turning purple. Could you put me down, please? Yeah, I put that in there for the comic beat. Now that I'm reading it, I'm like, okay, that would be better as his face turned darker. Could you put me down, please? A moment passed. He felt a slight shudder run through her and into his dangled leg. He felt a slight shudder run through her. Yeah, I don't need the dangled leg either. Then, almost reluctantly, the tentacle uncoiled. Garrett dropped only a short distance before another limb caught him, lowering him the rest of the way with care. His bare feet touched the warm stone. She recoiled instantly to the far edges of the cavern, limbs dragging in agitation as if ashamed she touched him at all. Her voice drifted from the darkness. I'll tell you, she said, but you must stay where you are. If you come closer, I'll break, and if you try to run, a tremor shook the cavern. I might shatter. Garrett steadied himself, heart hammering, and nodded into the shadows. I'm listening, he said as he sat on the ledge of a raised pool and massaged his tender ankle. There was a hiss of breath, like a sigh she'd been holding far too long. Good, because everything that happened to me, her voice wavered, then hardened like glass, everything I am is my own fault. Marissa began hesitantly. Her voice carried over the cavern. Again, Garrett felt like he was surrounded by her, though she had retreated to a far wall. Garrett felt he was surrounded by her, though she had retreated to a far wall as if attempting to shrink. Her tentacles coiled tighter around her until the only silhouette that remained was her small feminine figure, so that from Garrett's perspective she was the shadow of a woman he longed to touch and wondered if he ever truly had. I am the firstborn of a king. My father ruled the waters long before men counted days. He had no throne in heaven, only currents and tides. Many called him a god, though he never made such claims. My mother was human, once. She was loved by something that never should have touched her. When the watchers fell, the women they left behind were not forgiven. They were corrected. The sea took her, changed her, and when she bore me, I inherited what she was punished for. She paused and released a long, pained breath. I am a thing born before judgment decided what to do with them. I was difficult, she said weakly, petty, spoiled, proud. I took what I wanted and punished anyone who denied me even a fraction of what I desired, even my own siblings. I lorded my entitlement, my talents, my birthright over them. My father tried to restrain me, to admonish my behavior, but that only made me defiant. I would sink ships for fun, she admitted bitterly, and laugh at the wreckage. I wanted the entire world to recognize me, to fear me, to adore me. I craved attention and love, no, worship, any proof that I was worth more than anyone. Anyone else feels better? Her voice cracked. Is it any wonder they came to despise me, to fear what I would become? My siblings, especially the eldest of my brothers, the second-born, hated me. He grew jealous, resentful, and he was not alone. She sounded tired as she continued. He gathered allies among the witches of the... should be the fame. Another group I had scorned with my arrogance. They were clever, wise, ancient beings I might have learned from if I'd had the humility. I had the humility too. No. They banished me, she whispered. Bound me to this accursed island that follows the path of the moon for all time, unless, she shuddered, a broken sob echoing through the cavern. Off the walls. Unless true love found me and broke the spell. She laughed, once, hollow and cruel to herself. Can you imagine? Not simply banished, but condemned to an impossible condition. They took everything because of what I might become. I was furious. I screamed. I fought. But that only ever made the sea angrier. I tried to escape 1,000 times, but each time I ended up back here, and since the island is always moving, even if I were free, I doubt I would ever find my way home. A long silence followed. Then quietly she said, I am Arista, daughter of a king but no princess. I am the monster of the deep that sailors fear. I am the sea witch. Her voice fell to a wounded whisper, though lonely. I don't know how long I've been here anymore, Arista whispered. How many moons, how many years, or decades? Time doesn't move the same when you're cursed. It just swallows you. Her tentacles rose around her like a shield. Ships wander into my waters all the time, get caught in the currents and sink. Sailors drown or wash up here, coughing salt and terror. To call me a monster when they see me. Her voice trembled with bitterness. They think I hunt them. I don't. I just stay here. The world comes to me. I've tried love, she said so sadly it felt stolen from her. More times than I want to admit, but it always ends the same. Each one becomes part of my tragedy. She drew a shaky breath. Many tried to kill me outright. Others, her voice lowered, tight with remembered disgust. Others thought they could take advantage of me. as if I were some lonely, stupid creature begging for affection. Some came for the treasures, thinking they could steal from this wreckage of a cave, this grave. A bitter laugh scraped her throat. Most of them drowned before ever reaching the entrance. They never understood that this place isn't a lair. She paused. It's a prison. Her eyes glowed faintly in the shadows as she gestured to the heaps of gold and bone and broken armor. This collection, she faltered, voice cracking, it isn't wealth. It isn't power. It's everything I've ever lost. Everything I've ever ruined. Every reminder that I was never meant to be loved. Maybe you went about it wrong, Garrett said, before he could stop himself. Her silhouette flinched. He pushed on anyway. I don't think love is a spell, or something that just happens, he shrugged. Anything that hits that fast usually burns out just as quickly. She was still clinging to his every word. I think I want to change still. She was still clinging to his every word. Could be like read wrong as she was still clinging to his every word. Whereas she was silent, clinging to his every word. You say you were proud, spoiled. Maybe you were. He glanced up at her shape in the dark. You were raised being told you mattered more than the world. That messes with anyone. He gestured at the wasted wealth. But this, his voice softened, this isn't pride anymore. Pride doesn't regret. It doesn't warn someone away because it's afraid of hurting them. Her tentacles curled inward. And whatever love is, he went on, I know it isn't worship. It doesn't fix people. It doesn't make things easy. Garrett put his chin in his hand and thought a moment. And thought for a moment. The creature waiting in the dark held her breath and leaned closer to the light. It's just staying, trying, talking, even when it's uncomfortable. With a faint smile, he added, not building escape rafts as temper tantrums. Sometimes building escape rafts is temper tantrums. She slowly emerged from the dark. Her tentacles folded behind her like an evening gown. Beneath her, flowing backwards like an evening gown, hands folded at her waist. You asked why you should trust me? He shook his head. You shouldn't. Not yet. He pressed a hand to his chest. But I'm here. I'm listening. And I'm not running, even if I could. His voice dropped. That's all I can promise. If that's not enough, he added quietly, then I understand. He met her gaze. But if it is, we can start here. The wrist shifted and a ripple of bioluminescent light shivered between her tentacles. She gestured toward a heap of bones half buried beneath coins. Do you see them? She whispered. Garrett approached slowly, stopping several paces away. The treasure glittered around the skulls, not like trophies, but like debris washed onto shore. I don't think I need that sentence. Treasure glittered around the skulls. Actually, like debris washed onto a golden shore. She pointed with the tip of a tentacle. That one, she murmured, touching the cracked brow of a skull with a dent in the temple. He tried to kill me in my sleep. Thought he'd earned glory slaying the sea witch. I didn't even fight back. The fool slipped on some rocks and fell. The second skull, its jaw hanging crookedly open. And him? He tried to charm me, her voice twisting into a bitter laugh. Said he could tame me if I were just more ladylike. He drowned trying to leave with a bag of gold. She gestured toward another skull caked in salt. This one cried, begged, said he loved me on the second day. She traced the ridge of his cheekbone. But he didn't. He loved the idea of me. And when he saw what I really looked like, he went mad and drowned himself. Garrett's stomach tightened. She lifted his skull with long scratches scoring the bone. This one attacked me out of fear. Just fear. Her voice cracked. She hesitated. I had to defend myself. She replaced the skull gently, almost reverently. I never meant to keep them, she whispered. But when this island moves, everything washes back to me. Every story, every mistake, every reminder. Before I knew it, I had quite the collection. A tentacle curled around her waist protectively. I don't hate them. I don't even blame them. They were human. They were scared, and I was something they couldn't understand, something to blame for their misfortune. She turned away from the skulls, shivering. I don't want you to become one of them. With that, she pushed herself out of the shadows, and both towered and cowered before him. She stood immense, powerful. I don't know about the word both there, because both it immediately implies she and Garrett, not these two actions that follow. With that, she pushed herself out of the shadows and managed to both tower and cower before him. Tower and cower before him. She stood immense, powerful, the full form of the almighty sea witch. But Garrett still saw the scared woman who had quivered at his touch. Beneath the cold, crushing exterior, there was still a gentleness that had been injured too many times to count. How could I ever leave you? He asked, stepping closer and smiling up at her. If I know you'll continue to suffer like this. Garrett didn't flee, Arista didn't hide, the curse didn't break, but far above them, another pillar cracked and fell. Yeah, that's tight. That works. Added more revisions to it, but I think it works. It does its job. Alright. I don't know, what am I going to do? Watch TV? Play some video games? I should sleep. That's saved. Let's close chapter 11, brings us back to chapter 12. Arista looked small. The cavern's glow haloed her monstrous silhouette. Those vast curling limbs, the bioluminescent jewels across her brow like a natural-born crown, and yet she stood before him with her shoulders rounded, her posture bowed, like defiance had finally drained out of her. Garrett, the words tangled, she swallowed, tried again, voice barely more than a bruise. I can't keep you here. The admission looked like it hurt her physically. Garrett glanced around the damp cave, the mounds of treasure piled like washed-up refuse, and tried to ease the tension with a light breath. I suppose not, he said gently. There's nothing to make a fire with anyway, and I'm getting hungry. That actually made her flinch. Her gaze darted away, landing on one of the nearby skulls as if she couldn't bear to look at him. Her jaw clenched, fighting back tears she didn't want to hide. All right, she whispered at last, the word trembling with old wounds and fresh loss. All right. Garrett lifted a hand, hesitantly, almost apologetically, as though asking for it. Arista lifted a hand, hesitantly, almost apologetically, as though asking for his. But the moment she saw her own palm, she froze. Her fingers were long, dark green, webbed with soft blue, alien, wrong, unworthy. She began to pull back, but Garrett stepped forward and took her hand before she could retreat. His grip was warm, unwavering. Her breath hitched in shock. He lifted his free hand and touched her chin with a gentleness that felt impossible in this cold place, coaxing her gaze upward until her golden eyes met his. I trust you, he said softly, to keep me safe. Her massive form quivered, actually quivered, the terror of the deep brought to the edge of collapse by a single honest touch. She didn't look monstrous now. She looked like the loneliest creature in the world. Okay, let's get rid of that. Both those sentences. This chapter is way too long. It's 12 pages, 3,727 words right now after deleting that line. Like, a lot of this has got to go. Without breaking their joined hands, they moved toward the adjoining pool. Its waters glowing a soft lunar blue. That sentence is doing a lot. And if they don't break their hands, then why do I have to say it? They moved toward the adjoining pool, its waters glowing a soft lunar blue. As Arista slid into it, her enormous body shimmered, folding inward, dissolving into the sleek, elegant shape of her mermaid form. Move straight into the action, get rid of that descriptor. As Arista slid into it, why do I have that breath there? Her enormous body shimmered, dissolving into the sleek, elegant shape of her mermaid form. Fins replaced tentacles, sharpness softened into curves. As the glow of her skin brightened under the water, Garrett stood at the edge, staring, not stunned by her magic, but by the way her vulnerability clung to her even. You're so beautiful, he breathed. Her hands rough and webbed. Soft and delicate. No, her hands rough and webbed found his shoulders. He pulled himself close, wrapped his arm around her waist, and kissed her. Not desperate, not fearful, deep, gentle, fierce. A kiss like a promise. A kiss like he had already chosen her. Curse be damned. All right. All right. I'm gonna do some gaming. Maybe have a snack and some tea. Or I could try going to sleep. I don't know. I think I'm going to be done for now. I'll be back on to try and finish. I will. I will finish chapter 12 today. Absolutely. I'm on page 2. Still on page 2? Okay. Yeah. But yeah. I'm going to call it for now. Peace.